the March 22nd, 2018 school committee meeting for the Diman Regional District. Lucy DeRocco.
Mr. DiBiaseo.
Here.
Attorney Howitt. Mr. Jennings.
Here.
Ms. Menard. Here. Mr. Vegan.
Here.
Dr. Nero.
Yes.
Okay, we have a quorum. Pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, according to Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 20F, any member of the public may make an audio or video recording of this public meeting. A member of the public who wishes to record the meeting must first notify the chair and must comply with the reasonable requirements regarding audio or video equipment established by the chair as not to interfere with the meeting. Okay. We need approval for the March 8, 2018 minutes.
So moved.
Need a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Next, under unfinished business, the 2019 budget, FY19 budget approval.
Sure. Hi, Chairperson Jennings, members of the committee. I provided you a budget narrative that you can, take a look at. I can kind of summarize it. I'm not going to say quickly, but I can summarize it for you. The first part of the narrative talks about the fact that in developing this budget, it was the most difficult that we probably have to do for this district over the past 25 years. And again, I haven't been superintendent for 25 years, but I've been around this place for 25 years, and someone who has been here for 25 years is Mrs. Kenny. So when I said it was one of the most difficult budgets we've had to put together over the past 25 years, I think she will concur with that.
Absolutely.
Part of the issue is a number of different things. The first one is the foundation formula that's being used. Again, created during Ed reform and under the best of intentions. No one creating the budget formula could have envisioned the exponential increase in healthcare, the exponential increase in the needs outside of education that students have. No one could really appreciate or predict the rapid increase in technology that's costing more and more to educate our students. So when you take just that into consideration, this formula that was created 25 years ago has become outdated, and it's abundantly clear that based on the fact that both the House and the Senate at the General Court has moved the bill forward, it would suggest that they recognize that there is a problem as well. Boston Globe recently did an article looking at some of the wealthier communities and vis-a-vis the less wealthy communities and the amount of money that they're putting towards their education as opposed to rich versus poor. So this is one of the challenges that or a number of challenges that we're facing. So in taking a look, when we started the budget, we do our process like we do every year. We call the departments in and we ask them to give them their I'm not going to say wish list, but what they think they need to educate students. Because I'd be not honest with you if I said that they're not incredibly judicious about putting together their budgets. They have an understanding that money is finite. So when they came in, they gave us what they told us they believe they need in order to educate people. So when we looked at it, we started off with a $500,000 deficit, which is pretty overwhelming to try and tackle unless you're ready to cut personnel, and we're not ready to cut personnel, nor do we ever wish to. So as we took a look at some of the things that we had to do, we took a pretty hard look at our technology budget. It would be nice to buy Chromebooks for all of our programs. Money's not there right now, so we had to cut that. We cut a good deal of the equipment supplies for 2019 in the hope that we have enough residuals in 2018 to make those purchases. We've cut our textbook supply, which was, at one point a few years back, $100,000. We're down to $20,000 in our textbook supply. we've made other cuts in the budget in an effort to balance it. The budget that has been presented to you today is a balanced budget. Is this administration happy about it? The answer is no, absolutely not. The idea of cutting technology is anathema to any technical school. But, you know, we had some pretty hard choices to make, and those are the choices that we made based on what we felt was the best way to continue to provide the world-class education that we provide to our students. So you have the budget in front of you right now, and if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. And if I can't answer them, I'm sure Mrs. Kenny can.
I have a question.
Sure.
In the narrative, you talk about the medical assistant,
That's correct.
and it says, let's see, hiring an instructor. You don't have an instructor? You didn't have an instructor last year?
We didn't have a program.
Oh, you didn't have a program, because it says here, to begin our 18th Chapter 74 program. That means all the
Total.
Chapter 74, okay.
We have 17 coming
Okay,
right now.
so this is the new program,
It is.
and why do you think you need this program?
Anytime that you're putting together a presentation for a new program, the first thing you have to put together is data to suggest that there is a market for that program. There is clearly a market for that program in the Fall River area, where possibly 25% of all people working in Fall River are working in the healthcare field. So as we took a look at the numbers, both at the state and national level, there was clearly a market for that. So the next step in putting a program together is putting together an advisory board. And we put together an advisory board. One of the members is Dr. Fogel, the chief physician over at Primacare. And he, along with others on the committee, strongly support a medical assisting program. Additionally, a medical assisting program in terms of gender-related programs would provide an additional female program to Diman Regional. With a population of over 44% female, and only 4 programs that are defined as female gender-based, there certainly was a
There are
need.
no more of those now. Females got her in every job, so.
Well, no, I'm not saying that, but the DESE actually does make a dichotomy. And part of the Perkins reporting is, in fact, students who are in non-traditional programs. So looking at that, and I'll go one step further, it was probably one of the most inexpensive programs to start. It's a relatively inexpensive program as opposed to a highly technical or industrial program that requires a great deal of machinery. So when we took a look at all those factors, it became clear that this was a program that would have viability, both in terms of attracting students to Diman Regional and the students who are here to that program.
Just to elaborate on that, I totally agree with you. I've been advocating for more female shops for the last 4 years. I totally agree. The only thing I would like to see in the future is on that committee that you brought in to put this shop together, I think we have some educated people on the board, and 1 or 2 of them should have been on that committee. So we would have been more knowledge of what's going on, more told. We had no idea that this medical assisting was happening until two meetings ago. And now it's going to be incorporated, which I totally agree and I totally support. But I think having Mr. Began on the board and the doctor on the board, they should have been involved in this, where we could have been a little bit more educated on what the medical system was all about.
I'm just a little bit surprised about that in light of the fact, if you look at the November minutes, that they actually, we talked about that at the school committee level as early as November of 17.
The only other question I have is, where do you plan on putting this? Our school is maxed out on classes where we can put things. I mean, that's why we're looking to build a new school or get an addition for this school. Where do you plan on putting this?
Well, as we spoke about, we've talked about a number of different places. We've looked at the Cherry and Webb building over at the downtown area, and we've also looked in our own building and what classrooms that we could use. Mr. Ferrer, what classroom did we take a look at if we were going to start the program?
We have a classroom in the B wing on the first floor, part of the history classroom that would fit the program for 1 year. We would make modifications so that the students would be taking history classes in other classrooms around that area. So we could make it work in the B wing for 1 year.
And then from there,
We would have to expand into a second year. We have a second plan that takes the adjacent room to the room we're gonna associate for next year and project out. So we do have a plan in place. It's a 3-year plan, based on other things happening at the school level that will allow us to fit into our current situation. It does make it tight. No one is shying away from that, but it will work for 2 years easily, and then the third year, we'll have to look at.
On this campus.
Correct.
So as usual, and I just want to congratulate our administrative team for having a Plan A, Plan B, and Plan C. I mean, we don't go into these things lightly. We know that next year, the 2020 school year, computer programming and web development is going to have juniors. So we know that when we create the budget going forward, that we are going to have to hire an additional programming instructor. So again, we will keep you posted on that and let you know the progress on that.
Anyone else? I just had a question on the assessment. This year, it's 132 for Westport students. Do you know what it was? And I'm sorry, I should have had it was last year and maybe the year before. What, are those numbers increased or are they more or less?
No, they're
the same?
increased from the year before. For some reason, the number 120 something is
I
in
would
my
say at
head.
least 10.
Increased for around 10, right?
Right, and some of those, Mr. Jennings, are practical nursing students because that is a reimbursable
Yeah.
program.
Which is great, because I can remember when Westport was around 80 to 90.
As we grew, they all grew proportionally.
Yeah. And I notice there's no, it's out of our hands as far as the per student goes, but I know we have concerns in Westport, and it's comes up every year, and per student for Westport is around $13,781 per student. And I know that's out of our hands, but they always like to mention it and see if there's anything that the state can do to.
Well, as concerning as that is to me, what's really bothering me as well is regional transportation reimbursement. There was a time where that was 80%, 90%, it's down to 59% right now. And as the charter school growth continues to happen and they continue to drain from the regional transportation budget, this is something that we have to look forward to going forward. So as we plan the 20 budget, we're going to make some assumptions that, the 60% that we got this year probably isn't going to be 60%, probably going to be less.
And I know there was a year where the state actually came out with, they call the pothole fund,
Capital money, yes.
which helped the towns and the city with their assessments. And that's pretty much, I guess, it's dried up at this point.
Yeah, that was a one-time,
Yeah, which was a great help to the towns.
it was. Just to reiterate, you're absolutely correct. The foundation budget is dictated by DESE, and they work with the Department of Revenue in determining each community's assessment based on the revenue of those people that live in there and their tax capacity. So those numbers are all given to us. The only number that we calculate here is transportation.
And again, for a town like Westport, with a myriad or a differentiated demographic where, there may be some skewed numbers depending on where you live in the portion of the community, it becomes almost an unfair calculation, and that's why, again, it's extremely important that the general court take a look at this and look at the funding formula and make some amendments to it.
It hasn't been done since '93, right?
That's correct.
do you have the figures for the other two towns in the city? from what they pay for per student?
No, but I can certainly calculate them. And the reason I don't do that is that I know it's not the manner in which I have been trained to present it. But if you give me 1 second, I can tell you, get me a calculator, and if you want to continue on with the questions, I'll calculate that for you.
What's happening with the LPN program?
Okay.
Well, the reason I ask is because we're doing a new program, medical assisting, and so I'm curious about how we're moving forward or not moving or what.
Oh, no, the LPN program is an important program for this
Okay.
district, not only in terms of providing, a market for skilled workers, but in fact, and I'll be very frank about this, is that it's a good revenue source. It's a good free cash source. Interestingly enough, Mrs. Thompson pulled up the numbers for Assabet in terms of tuition, and their in-district is actually considerably cheaper than their out-of-district is. And it makes sense as to why they're doing that, because the way they look at it is they'd rather have more in-district, where you are getting that Chapter 70 money to go with that, which eventually would be more. The problem for the communities is that as you have more in-district LPNs, there's more of an assessment on each of the communities depending on where the students are coming from.
Whoa. So what's happening?
Oh, they just had their open house. We're still looking at running a day program, and our goal, again, is to hit 50 students in the full-time day program. And we already have a part-time day program where they have the maximum number of students there.
Tell me about the part-time program. How does that work? Is it just a longer,
It's a 2-year program,
okay,
right, as opposed to a 1-year program.
as opposed to a one?
And the critical piece to that is once it starts, you can't stop it. So you need to make sure that the numbers that you have will pay
Will
for.
stay.
Right, no, really, and now, there's a couple of things that we've taken a look at. We've been doing some incredibly strong recruitment within this district itself, where we eliminated the cost for the TEAS test, which is the entry test for our own students, in an effort to try and promote more students from within the district. Interestingly enough, we also have offered more TEAS preparation tests, because part of the problem, we have no problem filling the box with applicants. The problem that we have is finding students, the applicants who can pass the entrance examination. So that's where we need to bridge that gap.
Now, are most of those students high school graduates?
It's a mix. It's a mix. You have some displaced workers or people who are looking to change careers.
But they're not high school.
They have to be high school graduates.
They can't be, they have to be,
High school
they
graduates.
they have to be,
Or
It's a
equivalent.
postgraduate
it's a
program.
postgraduate
Oh, it's a
program.
postgrad, but
Right.
you get Chapter 70 for it?
Yes, in district, in district,
Interesting.
in district.
Good.
That's important.
Oh,
Coming
just
out of
in
district.
district?
Just in
Yes,
district,
Chapter 70.
yes.
So if someone applies from outside the district,
That's why they pay a higher
They pay
tuition
more.
cost.
oh, they pay a higher tuition.
Yes.
But ultimately, when you add the assessment and the tuition, in district is
Substantially more.
Oh, it does, yeah, I know,
So-
with the Chapter 70.
Do
I
you
have those
do you ever-
calculations.
I'm sorry, do you ever see the night program ever coming back?
yes, absolutely, no question about it.
That was a big help to some people who were working, like CNAs who worked during the day and they were doing this at night to get the LPN.
And we're looking at other programs. Southeastern has a very successful program. We're looking at them. Bristol Plymouth has a very successful program. We're looking to see what they're doing. So, I mean, there's no reason why, with the demand that we have, especially with the aging baby boomer population and the needs that they have, both at the nursing home level, but also in the homes themselves, there is a market, and that's why we're going to be putting out, in the district invested, in a video that you're going to see probably within the next couple of weeks about our LPN program, because we think it's one of those very understood programs that we have, so.
Okay, so on the per student, and I included transportation. Oliver is $3,547. Somerset is $9,223.30. Swansea is $10,795.16, and Westport is $14,000. So there is a substantial difference in the range.
Right.
But again,
I know that
and I know, and
years
I've been.
past, I've spoken to,
Mike
was it-
Roger.
no, what's his name, Chester, was it?
Oh, the commissioner.
Yes.
Commissioner Chester.
Yeah.
About the formula and how the whole thing, and it's pretty much based on your ability to pay.
Your ability to pay, and because they're accessing the
Right.
Department of Revenue's
Database.
database, so they've got everyone's incomes. And if you're, if you're using Westport as a secondary home, and now that becomes your only Massachusetts residence, your income is included in the ability to pay.
What was the increase from 18 to 19? What percentage? What the budget went up? What are we?
3.4%.
3.4?
And again, that is a combination of the Chapter 70 calculation and the number of students that we have.
Right, and the increased assessments. Some went up, some went down.
All right, any other questions, comments? Anybody make a motion?
Make a motion to approve the 2018/2019 diamond budget.
Need a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Thank you very much.
Okay. Next will be room 251 hardscape project.
Sure, and this is sort of a continuation of the instruction that we're doing in our vocational programs. It was interesting to note when we went to the Westport FinCom meeting that one of the questions that we were asked is that, do we do masonry? And it was kind of an interesting question to ask. I was much more proud to say, yes, we do masonry after the hardscape project that we did the last time, because prior to that hardscape project, the totality of our masonry projects were more likely to just build a wall and then tear that wall down because of space. In looking at sort of a continuation of that, we asked the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, and we put a proposal in for a second hardscape that would be for the outside of the room 251 restaurant. The DESE through Perkins approved the total of $17,000 for that project. As we were moving forward on that, per the Chapter 30 requirements, we went and got 3 quotes, and those 3 quotes are in front of you right now. And again, if you would take a look at the 3 quotes, you'll notice that the total estimates include consulting, construction, and supply costs. Not included in the estimates are landscape lighting, water feature, furniture, etc. The idea behind this project isn't just to have one program in it, but to actually have 4 programs. Our drafting program, our plumbing program, and our electrical program, along with business building technology. So the Perkins part of the grant is paying for the consultant at $9,980. And then you have the remainder, which is going to be covered by the grant or the foundation donation. We don't have a total for the complete project because obviously there's other things that we don't know what the water feature is going to be or what the cost of that's going to be. But we do have a cap on what that project is going to cost. So it's going to be a combination of the foundation contribution of $17,300 and the consulting fee paid through Perkins. And I want to point out that no institutional budget money is being used for the project. And that anything over and above the Perkins grant money or the foundation donation is going to be the limit of the project. So if there are things that we can't do that we'd like to do, that's going to be it. And what I mean by that is we had, for example, a company come in to to price out what an awning would be, because as hardscape will be on the south side of the building, might be nice to have some sun protection. However, if that comes in and it's going to exceed the total price of the project, it ain't happening. You know, then it's umbrellas. If the umbrellas exceed the price of the project, then there's no umbrellas. And that's the way it's going to go. But I'm proud to say that this is going to be an incredible project for our building technology program, our drafting program, our electrical program, and our plumbing program. And we're going to do it without using institutional funds. And I'll go one step further. As you know, we are in the MSBA pipeline relative to the core program, or Module 1, starting on July 2nd, 2018. If we get a new building, the great thing about this project is that we can disassemble this and use all of the materials in our new building. So it's not like there is a waste of product that can happen. This can be taken completely apart and used elsewhere or repurposed. So when you take a look at what we're doing in the future, the balance that we're going to have to deal with is continuing to educate students while preparing for the possibility of a major renovation or a new building. Because we make a commitment to the students who apply here now and in the future. And I'm not about to say to kids, well, we're going to limit your education because we're in the pipeline for a possible new construction.
Okay.
Can I just have a few questions?
Yeah.
Sure.
At the beginning of your dissertation, you mentioned about being proud that, yes, we have done masonry because of the project we did outside, and then we're looking at this. Are any of our shops gonna do the actual masonry? Because it looks to me like we have quotes for to have it all done. I'm confused.
No,
Is
I'm
it gonna be
sorry.
shop inclusion to do the masonry work, or is the masonry work gonna be done?
No, this is the consultant is out there consulting with the kids who are doing the work.
So it's more like an instructor, we're paying for an instructor.
We're paying for a consultant, right?
Okay.
Right. The instructors are still going to be out there
Okay.
because ultimately this isn't just about the kids learning how to do this. This isn't done every day. So our instructors will benefit as well by learning some of the skills that are going to go with this.
I was a little confused, I was trying
No,
to
no
make sure
problem.
that the actual students were gonna take part in the actual building of this and gonna gain education from
I
it.
can't tell you how many of the people on that hardscape project the first time were really impressed by that fact of seeing our kids out there
Good.
and actually working. That's good.
Mr. Ferrer, don't you have a curriculum in association with the first hardscape? I think you got a curriculum for the children as well.
My second question is, with the Perkins money that we're using for this, could any of that Perkins money have been used for any of the technology that we just cut out of the budget?
Well, the submission was done back in September. We weren't expecting a $500,000 shortfall. That would have had to have been built into the grant and approved by the DESE.
Okay.
As it is, because of the foundation, less Perkins money is going to be used. So
Right, because the donation-
Mrs. Pacheco is looking at what we can do with the excess money, and some of that money goes back, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Mrs. Kenny, some of that comes back to the district if we didn't use it for discretionary spending.
The
Indirect costs, I
Yes,
apologize.
That's correct.
So rather than 17, the whole, so it's actually working out nicely. Again, and the Bengal Foundation has been incredibly generous to the school, and that's why I encourage people to support them. The work that they've done for us has been incredible. They're incredibly generous.
I'm interested in why you're doing this project. Like, who's gonna use this?
Anybody that goes to room 251,
But it's outside,
absolutely.
so you're gonna use it 2 months a year, 3 months?
No, we have teachers here that are here 10 months a year.
That eat outside?
I'm not saying who says they're gonna eat out there, they might sit out there as well.
In the middle of the winter? I mean, from October to March, people are gonna sit outside? I don't get it. I get the idea that the students are going to do this. I don't get the idea of the usage of it. People, there isn't a restaurant that has umbrellas outside or patios outside where people eat in the wintertime. They don't do that.
So I'm just so that I'm understanding, so if we're not gonna use it for 10 months, then it doesn't have enough value to do, I'm not understanding.
No, I don't think it does. Unless there is no other project that the students can do that would make sense. This doesn't make sense to me.
Oh, well, it's part of curb appeal too. I mean, the fact of the matter is, when we did the hardscape out there, we improved the curb appeal of our district considerably. This is the entrance of our building. If we're looking to continue to draw students in, we have to have curb appeal.
We may build a new school. That may not even be part of it. So we don't know. I have trouble trying to figure out why we're putting, that there must be another project that these students can do that we would use all year round, not a patio.
Well, what we're trying to do is we're trying to improve the grounds without using institutional funds, as we have a number of projects that, quite frankly, have been honestly not done over time that should have been done. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to continually improve the appearance of our
Do you
campus.
think this is going to improve the appearance of the campus?
Uh,
Even though we're looking to sort of change our campus?
Right, but that could be
Build a different campus?
that could be 5 to 8 years from now.
Yeah, yeah, it could.
Right, so we still need to attract the best and the brightest. And I think
The
you're,
best and the brightest students?
well, again, you know, I've only been involved in real estate for maybe 11 years now, and throughout that time, curb appeal is one of the most important things in terms of selling something. So when I look at it from a business point of view, the curb appeal here, I think, is extremely important.
I just don't get it. I really just don't get it. I know what you're saying. Curb appeal to students aren't coming because there's a patio, number one. We're going to change a lot of this, we think, if we're successful with the school building assistance.
In 5 to 8 years.
Yeah, in 5 years, hopefully.
And would still repurpose the stuff that we're doing.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Okay.
Now, the foundation money that we're getting, was that for that project?
Was it earmarked specifically?
Oh, yeah, I mean, one of the foundation members is exceedingly excited about it, a culinary art graduate who feels that it has incredible value, but,
And has, if I can add to that, and has given us a lot of money for other projects in the school.
But could that money be used for something else? Better used for something else? I mean, how many months a year will people even be able to go out there and eat? Think about it, it's 2 or 3 months, maybe.
so you're not understanding the curb appeal?
Curb
on it?
appeal to whom?
All of the business that we conduct, because we're limited in terms of space, takes place in room 251. So
Yeah,
anyone who pulls into our building is gonna see
a patio.
a hardscape project, yeah.
No, I don't see the value of it, but.
Okay.
But that money was earmarked for that project through that foundation.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean the project has never been approved.
No,
So-
no, you're right there, but I think the intention was that money was given for a project outside of 251.
Didn't we have something back a couple of years ago where we were asked as a board, and we asked administration, that no money from the foundation be earmarked until we bring it up, that we don't go ahead of time? Remember, we had a problem ahead of time, whether it was board members or whether it was administration going and getting money put aside from the foundation and then bringing the project to us, or we bringing the project up. Didn't we say that from now on, no foundation money will be allocated to that until we approve a project?
Yeah, well, was that donated for that? I'm
I
not
don't,
sure. See,
I'm
Yeah,
not.
I don't know.
If you develop a project and then you go to the to the group, and you tell them about the project, and they say, oh, that's a really good project, okay, we're gonna give money to that. Yeah, that's what we're saying, but it was never approved. I think that the money could be used for a lot of other things. Equipment, good things, I don't know.
I'm just wondering if whoever donated this money.
Is he paying for the whole thing?
Almost.
He's donating a good portion of it, from what I understand.
Well, not the whole thing, how much are the other, how much is the total cost?
The Bengal Foundation made a commitment of 17.3
$17,000?
for the hardscape.
Okay, and how much do you think the whole project would cost?
27-1.
Oh, so
Not to exceed the 27,
So it's only 10,000.
and which, that's what a
Which is the Perkins.
Perkins money comes in.
Oh, that's a Perkins money.
Yeah.
That could be used for other things.
Well, the way that I don't want to, it was the way it was written, right?
It would have had to have been written back in September.
Okay, so a grant was written for this?
Yes,
Okay. Really? And so the money is specifically
for a consultant.
for consulting?
Mhm.
That could be for any project though, correct?
This was
Definitely,
specifically
you have to
for
outline
that
this
project.
You have to
Right,
Right,
outline
just
it.
like they approved that project over there because the DESE saw the value in it, and that we actually built a unit-based, standards unit-based lesson plan for it that they approved, so it's, again, they see the value of it instructionally.
So when this grant was written for the Perkins money, you knew that we were gonna do this project?
Well, you don't know anything until they approve it.
Well,
And then
that was
ultimately.
your intention.
That was the intention, that's correct, yeah. And again, based on the success we had with the last one.
And what does this consultant do, actually?
Works with the students. A hardscape project is a very complex technical project. That project in particular, people don't realize the pitch that you have in terms of trying to create something that is flat. There's a great deal of math that goes into that, a great deal of.
And we don't have instructors here. that
Well,
can-
they're not masons by trade. They are building technology people. They do numerous and different things.
All right, the recommendation is to award the 251 hardscape project to Gasper's Landscaping in the amount of 17.3. Project not to exceed the 27.1. Need a motion or, what do you wanna do?
I make a motion to approve.
I need a second.
Second.
I got a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No.
No. Okay. That is the end of the meeting. Need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Need a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.